Donald Trump is like being accidentally right today. That's kind of the theme of the show. We have some clips of him saying things that are just like a little bit too on track for comfort. But let's start here. So
he's in Merry Christmas mode. Remember, he brought back Christmas, and he's feeling the holiday spirit, which means suddenly like the ghost of Christmas, whatever the good one is,
Christmas Vax.
Yes, that one has come, and the ghost of Christmas Vax has made Donald Trump right for the season.
Is he going off on like shower pressure again? Because I always felt he was right about that one.
So.
I remember that, right?
Yeah.
Toilets just don't flush the way they used to.
And the light bulb one.
And the washer and dryers don't dry as well.
Yeah. As if he doesn't get every item of his clothing dry cleaned.
No, I'm sitting there next to the dryer waiting for it, looking at my watch, being like, oh, my socks are almost done. Binder, you tipped one of the videos we haven't watched yet, which is him and Huckabee saving Christmas, but we'll have to play that maybe after.
Oh, okay, right. I enjoy that video so much that I actually played
it's the best video of the year. two separate episodes of my own show. So I liked it so much, I had to like do like a replay. Like I did it last Thursday with my guest Parker Malloy, and then this past Tuesday I was like, you know what? It was so good. We all got to watch it again. It's that great.
And then we're gonna do it again on the show.
I haven't seen it yet, but tis the season.
It was legit the Left Reckoning cold open last night.
Well. So Donald Trump is trying to put his face back out there, and I mean, I think he's likely to run in 2024. At the very least, he wants people to speculate about whether he's going to run in 2024. But right now, he's doing what kind of reminds me of like how he aggressively went after the Iraq War in the Republican primary leading up to 2016, where none of the other Republican politicians wanted to go there, basically, but because it was a common sense thing, and because he said it so aggressively, and because the base loves him pretty much regardless, and he can just say what's on his mind, they appreciate his off-the-cuff nature, like it's gonna go over fine. He's gonna face zero repercussions for touting the vaccine. So this is a clip of him with Candace Owens here, in keeping with his what was the Bill O'Reilly tour he was doing the other day, where he talked about how he got the booster.
Take credit, okay? Take credit for the booster and other vaccines,
yes.
Which is code for give me credit. Don't let them take the credit away from me.
And he's continuing in that vein here, because he wants to seize the credit for the vaccine back from Biden. And also, I mean, I think he's just like, these people are being so stupid. Like, I like the vax and is in favor of it. He triples down here with Candace Owens.
Terms of big pharma, which is a huge topic on the minds of mothers, especially. You're seeing what's happening at these school board meetings. Where do you stand on these vaccine mandates? And obviously, I know that you are pro-vaccine. Obviously, you did everything you could to get this vaccine out. I know where you stand on the vaccine.
It was one of the greatest achievements. We did it in less than 9 months.
To be able to do that.
Yeah,
but now it's taken a twist, right? It's gotten, now we went from this is a good thing and people should have this option to military men, you're going to have to resign because you're not getting this vaccine. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I stand on, forget about the mandates, that people have to have their freedom, but at the same time, the vaccine is one of the greatest achievements of mankind. We would have had a 1917, remember the Spanish flu, killed perhaps 100 million people.
All right, so just a reminder, and you can just keep this up, Bradley, it's just like one aside. He was talking about how this is no worse than the flu. I mean, it's the flu. No one's gonna die. It's not that serious unless you're a fatty, and unless you're an oldie, and unless you're a poorie, you're not gonna be affected by COVID. And now it could have been worse than the Spanish flu. All right.
I mean, it's amazing when you look at history.
You don't want to go out like Stan. That's just the truth. You don't want to go out like Stan.
All right. All right, continue.
Actually, it ended the First World War because the soldiers a lot of people don't know that. The soldiers got so sick. It was a terrible thing. There was no vaccines. There was no anything. I came up with a vaccine, with 3 vaccines. All are very, very good. Came up with 3 of them in less than 9 months. It was supposed to take 5 to 12 years.
And yet more people have died under COVID this year, by the way, under Joe Biden, than under you. And more people took the vaccine this year. So people are questioning how...
Well, no, the vaccine worked, but some people aren't taking it. The ones that get very sick and go to the hospital are the ones that don't take the vaccine. But it's still their choice. And if you take the vaccine, you're protected. Look, the results of the vaccine are very good. And if you do get it, it's a very minor form. People aren't dying when they take the vaccine.
What about the masking of children? That's a big one for moms right now.
I think it's a terrible thing. I think it's a terrible thing.
That flies in the face of science. The kids have a virtual 0% chance of dying of COVID, and yet they're insisting on these vaccine mandates. I mean, I'm sorry, on these masking mandates.
She really wanted him to get off that point.
That is not the only reason, though. Like,
you spread it to other people.
Yeah,
you spread it to other people.
Exactly. Like, there again, globally, some like 5 million children have the experience of being COVID orphans, like losing all guardians.
Domestically in the United States, it's like 140,000.
Yeah, it's just insane.
But that's still virtually zero by our population. So it's not that, technically it's less than 1%.
Right.
Thank you, Brent. I'll sleep easy now.
Statistically, it's zero.
Statistically, 3 million Americans dying is only like less than 1% of Americans dying. So that's not that many.
Right.
All right, wait, but I guess
also tell that statistic to someone who has lost a child from COVID, because there have been there's been a lot less, but there have been children who have died from COVID.
Or permanently, or at least long-term complications from it.
Yeah.
Well, we don't platform those people.
Yeah.
We platform the people who are arguing kind of abstractly about whether you should go back to work and be exposed to illness, and therefore your kids have to go back to public school. And the mothers or children who lose their parents are just like, well, they're externalities of that system.
Well, I mean, it's like that Trump would be the kind of guy that if your kid has a peanut allergy, it's like, and Candace Owens, like, God, they're being so annoying not allowing peanuts in schools. Like, those kids are the weaklings, basically. If you have a pre-existing condition and you get COVID as a kid, kind of natural, that's nature taking its course. But
it's also just true that
save the children.
It's also true that Trump is not a fan of his fans. Like, Trump has never been a fan of his more rabid, even like right wing, apart from Fox News and OANN and whatever thing he's going on at the kind of a traditional news channel. Like, he's never been a real big fan of all of that kind of like QAnon left and like far right like demagogue. Like, he thinks they're low class.
Well, because everybody in his class status is vaccinated. I mean, and they see no issue with it.
Like, he's a classic kind of like old school conservative who wants to be the representative of these people, but really just can't actually bring himself to pretend like he respects them in any real way.
Yeah.
Right, but he can't push them away either, though. He knows that. Like, anytime there's been a chance for him to like refute someone, he throws that chance away because he wants those QAnon people. He wants the anti-vaxxers. Like, look all the little addendums he had to add. The vaccine's great. You won't. You almost for sure won't die if you take it, but it's your freedom. If you got freedom, you can't. If you don't want to take it, you shouldn't be forced to take it. Of course, don't get me wrong there. He's got to add something to throw those people a bone because he doesn't want to lose them. No matter how much he dislikes them or even hates some of them, he still wants them.
Yeah, making an issue of personal choice is a great way to like just give it a type of legitimacy and like traditional American like values, even though it's like incredibly acontextual. I think he's angling to get back on Twitter. I think this is like his way of being responsible enough to get back on mainstream channels. But, I don't think it's going to work.
Funny thing is, Twitter's the one company, well, maybe with a new CEO, who knows, but Twitter's the one company who has been out there who has stated like, period, we are not bringing him back. Like, Facebook has the whole kicking it down the curb to the oversight board, and the oversight board forcing them to give it a time frame, and they give it like a 2-year time frame or something, and then they'll reassess the situation. Twitter's the only one who is like, nah, he's not coming back. But again, new CEO, who knows?
Just a note here. Candace Owens' first tweet about Big Pharma was in April of this year. So
can we say, is there anything left in that clip, Bradley?
I mean, they just talk about masking, but if you want to, we can.
Yeah. Well, then there we go. Yeah.
Take credit, Candace. Take credit.
The only reason he doesn't like masks is because he didn't make them. Like, if he could, like, if he was like, I upped the production for the masks, they were my idea, then he would be like, no, Candace, the masks are great. All children should be wearing them. Your children's children should be wearing them. Masks for everyone, like that. But he didn't. He has nothing to do with masks, so he doesn't care.
Let's just like notice how Candace really shot her shot trying to say that more people are vaccinated and more people are dying means that people that are vaccinated are dying. Like, she actually tried that with Trump, and in the moment he said no.
No, yeah.
No.
Good for him, man.
I mean,
I mean, the reason if we need
he's not
to
going to be
just-
bullied by her. Like he knows he's the big dog in that situation. He's not going to like subscribe to her fact pattern. He's never done that with any media member. He dictates the terms.
Because and also that implies that the vaccine is what's killing people, or like it's not working, and that's his vaccine. At the end of the day, he at least takes responsibility for the for like the marvel of modern science that he's describing of creating a functional or 3 functional vaccines that work within basically 6 to 9 months and getting them off the ground. Everything else after that failed. But
And
that
before that was great. Yeah.
But the science was something good. He frames it like he did it himself, like he was in the lab with the scientists and making the vaccine himself. But you can't deny it was a marvel of modern science. Too bad it had to be done through like the veil of private capitalism and all that other stuff.
Well, that's the funny thing about that marvel of modern science is that mRNA technology has been kicking around for a while, but we only like activated it now in case of emergency and in case of governments forcing these companies to save us.
Yeah, and speaking of like marvels of modern science, again, we don't have like independent understandings of what Cuba's vaccine actually in terms of its efficacy, but they have vaccinated 83% of their population and 90% have one shot at least. So it doesn't need to be capitalist in order to actually create something that's gonna make inoculate people and push public health forward, obviously.
Also, there's a number of reasons. I just want to put this out there because who knows who's watching this show, and I don't want anyone getting the wrong idea from what Candace Owens just said. But there are many reasons why there are more deaths under Biden than Trump that have nothing to do actually with either president, really. For number one, Trump got lucky and sort of avoided the winter months for the most part when it came to COVID. We didn't get hit. U.S. didn't get hit till like mid-March of 2020. Winter was pretty much over. We know that the winter months are when COVID's at its worst. Biden, inaugurated into office January 20th. So pretty much he has to deal with that plus this winter. And then on top of that, we have variants now. And then on top of that, for the early months of COVID, like March, April, May, we were like locked down and mostly not going out. Biden's presided over all the reopenings and everything. People getting vaccinated, so more people going out and doing things, events happening again. So those unvaxxed people are mingling with those, with all the stuff that is reopened again, but they didn't get any of the protections that the vaccinated people do. So they're getting sicker. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why there are more deaths now, honestly.
It's because we're basically following what their prescribed policy choice would be, and it is dangerous when all that is glossed over and this is just collapsed as authoritarian power grab. So like immediately from the vaccine, if you think the vaccines are part of an authoritarian power grab, you're not criticizing Big Pharma, Candace Owens, or Charlie Kirk, or any other people who are doing that. What you're doing is basically defanging any efforts to try to force these companies to share IP and knowledge with other countries to allow them to build it. Because why would you want to help other countries know how to make these vaccines if they're just authoritarian power grabs and you can't trust them, right? And then there's the other thing where it's like, basically, like when I see the right talk about the authoritarian, I see they're really upset that we paid people to stay home, like Binder mentioned, and now that they're finding it tough to fill those jobs at the lower wages that they had, and that's authoritarianism to them.
Yeah.
I will say at least Trump, I mean, we're all forgetting that in the latter half of the last quarter of last year, Trump was recovering from COVID himself. So he didn't really have a chance to, be out there as much rabble rousing, but also like
just breathing weirdly on camera.
Oh yeah. But also, I mean, it's a good thing he has at least moved past like promoting like bleach or hydroxychloroquine or whatever other kinds of like prophylactic things that he was pushing in the beginning, like sort of half-heartedly before there was a vaccine.